I really wanted to like Hyde Park on Hudson when I watched it, because I was reading some of the reviews and they were sort of less than glowing, and when I looked at it, the trailer, I assumed it would be quite excellent because Bill Murray's never really done a bad film in my opinion, except for Garfield, of course. But uh, I was less than keen on Hyde Park on Hudson, if only for the reason that the film's really split up into two different storylines, and one of them's awful, and the other one's pretty good. Like, you get these two different interpretations of FDR, played by Bill Murray, and one of them's told through the lens of Daisy, one of his distant cousins, played by Laura Linney, who keeps coming to the house to look after him and hang out with him, and essentially they become friends. And it's it's a film all at her through her lens, and essentially you get an impression of FDR that's rather unsavoury, um, and I didn't think that's where this film was going, and that's the impression you get from Daisy's lens. But then the other storyline is how he is perceived by the visiting King of England, George VI, and his wife, who have come across the pond to ask for help in the war that they both know is coming. And the impression you get of FDR from their encounters is completely different to the one that Daisy sees. And uh, the Daisy side of the film is at times thoroughly repugnant. It's a very horrible depiction of a man that most people would say did a lot for that country. And I'm not saying that they shouldn't have tried to depict him badly or in this way. I'm just saying that as a viewing experience, it's not a very pleasant one. And you watch it and you just don't like the man that he is. You don't like watching that character. And by extension, at the end of the film, you don't like watching Daisy's character because she's sort of grown accustomed to it, and you don't really understand why someone would grow accustomed to something like that, because the image that it fosters of this president is not a pleasant one. But the second half of the film, the side you see when he's negotiating and talking to the King of England, is actually rather sweet and kind, and you get this sort of bond between these two characters that you wouldn't really expect, and it's almost father and son-esque. Like, he's letting George know that he's going to do a good job. He'll be a good king, something that he doesn't believe. And you see FDR nurture this man and try and build him up, because he knows that that country's going to need it, but he also knows that that's what he needs. And you see this very kind side to FDR, and Bill Murray's excellent in those scenes. The only problem is that when you get these scenes, they're also cut up with parts of Daisy and FDR's storyline, where you get to see an image of FDR that isn't very nice. So you're constantly trying to battle these two personas, and at the end of the film, the nice FDR kind of loses out to the lecherous pig that's depicted, and it's not a very good ending, because it's supposed to be uplifting and revelatory, and it's not. It's 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 Daisy it's Daisy giving out to a man who shouldn't have anything to do with her, in a way. It's a film that is not positive in any way at the end, because you're celebrating a man that you don't want to be celebrating. I think the problem with this biopic is that it's just it just doesn't show you someone that you want to actually watch, and that's the problem with the film. It's hard to watch because you get these horrible, horrible characters, and I think Daisy and FDR are both characters you don't want to be associated with. You don't enjoy watching. The film does have good performances, and Bill Murray's excellent, even in the scenes when he's being a complete pig. But I think it also has some great performances from people like Olivia Colman, and Laura Linney's all right, but she's stuck with a character who's a bit of a wet fish. So for half the film she's very quiet, and then for the other half, she is falling into the patterns that FDR wants to fall into, and these are quite um, uh, well, they're not very nice. And she starts doing things that you wouldn't expect the Daisy from the beginning of the film to do. And I guess you do want change in a movie, you do want characters to evolve, but this feels like devolving. It feels like she's moving backwards and not forwards. And I think that's something that you really need to explain and say, this is why I wanted to do this. And I don't think the director, I think it's Roger Mitchell, wanted to do. I don't think he wanted to show a woman who was moving backwards, but one that was moving forwards. But her idea of moving forwards is moving forwards with a man who is just disgusting. It's it's not a film that's very positive about women. It's not a film that's very positive about power. It's a film that's very negative in a lot of aspects, and it's just something that I really didn't think would be from the trailer, and then I watched it and I really didn't like what I was watching, and that's why I gave it a 5 out of 10.